Hi guys, welcome back to Gym Girls Unfiltered. Today we wanted to dive into something that I feel like a lot of us and a lot of our viewers face, but we honestly just don't really talk about enough, especially on social media. And it's those hard days when nothing seems to go as planned. Maybe it's your routine getting thrown off, maybe it's your motivation dipping, or just life throwing you a curveball in general. And instead of seeing those days as setbacks, we want to explore how we can adapt, how we can adjust, and just keep moving forward. Because honestly, progress just doesn't come from being perfect. We talk about this all the time. It comes from learning how to pivot and learning how to adjust and make this a part of lifestyle when you're not perfect, when things aren't going your way. So let's get straight into it. There's quite a few things we want to talk about. I'll hand it over to Kate because she had an experience with this yesterday in her check-in. I feel like you could talk a little bit more about this, Kate.
Yeah, so honestly, hard days are common and all a part of the process. So don't think if you're having a hard day or multiple hard days that something's wrong or you should just give up. So yesterday I had a check-in with my coach, and as you guys know, if you've listened to our previous podcast and you follow us on social media, I recently got a dog, a puppy, 8-week-old puppy. So that has brought multiple new things for me to figure out, multiple new challenges. And this past week, before my check-in with my coach yesterday, there was a couple of days I only got 4 hours of sleep, 3.5 to 4 hours of sleep. On top of working full-time and being in school, I just honestly just was overwhelmed, feeling anxious. And honestly, each day leading up to my check-in was a hard day. My training wasn't as good as it usually is. I was mentally just not in it. I felt really bogged down, really stressed out. It was kind of relaying over into my relationship, and I was just really struggling. And I opened up about that with my coach, and we really talked about how that stress and those hard days were taking such of my energy and time, and kind of how I could go about that. And some things we talked about that have really worked for me in the past, and I just need to remember to implement, is just taking a deep breath and realizing, okay, I got this. My meals are prepped. I'm doing my training. I'm giving the best I can, and just do that on repeat, because the stuff is honestly so simple. And something he told me, I don't have it pulled up, and something he told me, he was like, this stuff is autopilot for you. You've been doing this for so long. It's simple. Just get your meals in, rest, recover as much as you can, train hard, and repeat, and everything else will fall into place. Stressing about like not being 100%, or I didn't hit the same amount of reps as I did last week. Stressing about that is only going to make me more stressed and make things harder on myself. So when you have those hard days, a big thing I've learned is just to take a step back and be like, okay, I'm still showing up and I'm still giving everything I can. But something I wanted to talk about and we discussed is kind of learning to adapt when those hard days come about. So those days I had 4 hours of sleep, I trained the next day after both of those terrible nights of sleep. And my coach was like, Kate, like, you can't do that. Like, I would rather you get some extra rest, sleep maybe like 2 hours extra, just lay in bed and don't go train like if you didn't sleep good, because your body's not energized, you're not going to recover good. And he was like, those workouts aren't useless, and that training session wasn't totally useless, but it was kind of non-conducive for our goals. He said, I would rather you sleep extra and the next day, rest today, and the next day go get that workout in, because after a full day of better food, better sleep, you're going to be able to train harder and probably get more closer to your goals. But in my head, I've always been like, no, if I take extra rest, that's like me giving up, or me being a baby and being like, oh, I'm too tired, I'm not going to go train today. And I don't know if you guys have that kind of similar mindset around things.
Absolutely. I think you touched on something really good there where I feel like people can stress out so much when things don't go their way or if things go off track. And I think this is taking it maybe in a little bit of a different direction on the opposite side of the spectrum, where it's like, oh shoot, like I did go off the rails. I did like not, maybe I didn't do my best. Maybe I didn't, like, more for lifestyle people. Maybe I traveled and I was just out of my normal routine. And I think it can be really, really, really overwhelming when it's like, okay, well, what do I do now? How do I go from here? I didn't get in my workouts. I didn't get in this. I didn't get in that. And that's something I tell a lot of my clients. And this comes back to progress, not perfection, is you don't want to, this sounds so tacky, but you don't want to think about like the whole staircase in front of you. You want to think about that next step. And what's that next thing that you can do to get you pushing yourself in the right direction instead of thinking about everything that you can do absolutely perfect to get right back into it. It's like, okay, maybe this next week, maybe you're just thinking about getting into what feels good for you. Maybe that's just focusing in on your steps and your nutrition. Am I getting in enough protein, right? I think people will go to in this like perfectionist mindset, okay, I need to be absolutely perfect with everything. All my meals need to be perfect. I need to get in all my training. I need to get in all my cardio, all my steps. I need to get in all my supplements. I need to do this. I need to sleep more. And then it's so overwhelming that it just sets you back. So I think it kind of goes along with what you're saying, Kate, where it's like, all right, we need to think about one thing at a time and what you can do to make this a part of your lifestyle rather than like stressing yourself out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me personally, I feel like recently I've kind of had a mindset shift because like I even text Kate some days and I'm like, I'll check in and I'll be like, I hated these check-ins, they look awful. But I did talk to like my coach about it all too. And at the end of the day, she's like, if you are showing up for yourself and checking off all of your boxes and pushing as hard as possible, your body is gonna respond how it wants, and that's like out of your control. So
Something we were talking about before we press record on this podcast was social media and how it makes everybody's life look so perfect and happy. And I have found myself a lot recently, these past few months, kind of comparing my life and just people on social media. I'm like, why don't I feel as good, or like, why don't I look as good as them? Why is my life like full of just stress and being on the go, and these people just have all their life together? And it's even got to the point where I compare it to like my home not always being clean and everything. Like it had almost it almost overtaken every single aspect of my life. Like beyond my face, my body, my hair, it was like my house, my car. I was like, why am I just not like this like put together aesthetic girl? And maybe this is going in a different direction than we wanted it to, but I think when you kind of get in days and mindsets like that, for me, they come in several days or like several weeks at a time where I just feel like so overwhelmed. I have to get off social media. And I think that is something that is hard for a lot of people to do because we get like a dopamine rush from it, or we get bored and we're just scrolling. But if you're having those days where you're just like finding yourself comparing to and stressing out about social media and comparing it to your life, I think it's just best to take a break and know that stuff is fake and people don't post the ugly stuff.
It's so true. It's so easy to like, it's something that I've been struggling with too, where I don't know, I just get so overwhelmed and like seeing other people, and it is a highlight reel, and it is so hard to like compare yourself to that, and knowing that like, okay, I don't know, maybe this is cheesy too, but I think the best thing that you can compare yourself to, and this goes for if you're like competing in prep, like if you're in bodybuilding prep, I would do this, or even just like a lifestyle person scrolling and comparing yourself to like fitness influencers. I feel like the best person that you can compare yourself to is yourself previously. I think that's the only person that matters. And once I tell myself more of that, it's like, okay, I get overwhelmed because like maybe again, I don't talk about this that much on social media, and I feel like I should. Like I put out a story the other day where I was like, I've just been so anxious about like I should be doing more. And I always, like you said, Kate, like I'm like go all the time, and like why am I so busy? But it's also like it's also learning to be like, okay, I'm comparing myself to where I am now versus where I was a year ago. And I'm so proud of where I am now compared to then. And I've made these changes, not only physically, but mentally and in my business and all these different types of things. And I think it really helps to kind of take a step back and close off. Like I tried to stop scrolling on social media. I just post, I interact with the people in my community, and I try not to scroll anymore because it gets into my head. And I think about, okay, if I saw this quote somewhere, and I'm kind of rambling now, but like I saw this quote where it was like, if you wouldn't trade places with yourself from a year ago, you've made progress. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely like wanted to bounce off that whole Instagram is a highlight reel because it really is so true. And recently I have been trying to open up more on my Instagram to show that my life isn't as put together as I do portray it. Like I posted something the other day and like people show their best angles at the gym. They're not going to show when they have cellulite on their legs training. Like I posted something else the other day about my anxiety, and my life may look put together on social media, but in real life, like Kate said, my apartment's messy and I'm not going to show that. You know, I almost a year post grad still trying to find a job, and like that gives me anxiety every day. I'll even be completely honest, like being an online fitness coach is my dream and I love it. But living in a new area and a new environment, I sit in a cube all day, every day. That's what I like to call it because it's like a 900 square foot apartment and it gets lonely and like depressing. And I'm like, why am I not finding a job? Why am I not doing this? Like, how does she have this? And I've kind of put it into perspective as you can have anything you want if you put the time and effort into it. Like, no one has something you can't have. You
Yeah.
just have to make it happen for yourself. So I've been really trying to tune into that, and then also like knowing that everything will fall into place for me as it should, but really like opening and talking about what you see isn't actually who I am. I don't know if you guys follow Daily Dose of Rose on
Yeah,
Instagram.
I do.
I
I like the
love
content.
her content.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She is more lifestyle now, but just like the relatable content she talks about is like one she posted yesterday, and it was like talking about grass is greener, and she's like, my grass, I'm never thinking about if my grass is greener because I'm not focused on anyone else. I'm just focused on myself. So just like little things like that that you really don't see on social media. And I think that a lot of people should start to show it more, but that is just what social media is. It's a little app of everyone's perfects. So
It's so true. It's so true because I think like what you were saying, where you're like, okay, I'm struggling with like I'm in my apartment and all these different types of things. I think when we scroll on social media and we compare ourselves to other people, we forget like how awesome our own lives are.
Mhm.
And all of these things that we've really been working towards, like Kate, you as a nurse, like Caroline, you working with online fitness clients, like me building my coaching business, and all these things where I'm like, I seriously would not have it any other way. Like everything, and I'm so incredibly lucky, and I know how rare this is. I have a great family. I live in a great apartment. Like my business is doing well. I'm working with incredible women. I love my social media. Why am I so anxious all the time? Why do I feel like,
Mhm.
I don't want anything to change? So I don't know. I think that's something that I'm struggling with. Maybe you guys are as well, but just learning to like be present and be proud of how far we've come and how much we've accomplished, and just be still, I guess, is like the struggle.
I think something that I've been telling myself recently that's kind of really helped ground me and bring me back down and be like, okay, I'm all right,
Yeah.
is telling myself what a privilege it is. Like, what a privilege it is to be so stressed out because I'm so busy. What a privilege
Yes.
it is that I'm so tired because I work. But what
Yes.
a privilege it is to have a job. And shoot, what a privilege it is to be able to breathe and like walk, because I take care of people that cannot do that. Young people,
Yeah.
too. Like people younger than me, 2 years younger. I'm 23. I had a 20-year-old patient the other day. He couldn't walk on a breathing machine. So like I kind of just bring myself back down to earth with things I see like that. But we all live such different lives, and I think it would be kind of helpful and cool if we talked about what are some signs of anxiety that we see in ourselves, like physically, mentally, emotionally. Caroline, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So bouncing off of that real fast, I have started waking up every day or at night, even when I'm like talking to Carson. I'm like, the only two things that matter, like, yes, money's nice. Yes, having nice things is great. But the two things that really matter is A, that you're happy, and B, that you're healthy. And if you're those two things, then you like really are. I know this is going to sound so cliche, but like rich in life. And it's really so much more than money. And I actually posted something about that a few weeks ago. And I was like, wait, like I actually am rich. Like I have amazing friends. I have a body that moves. I have a healthy body. Like I have a nice apartment. It might not be the most aesthetic, but I have a space to live. So, you really are rich in so many other ways than like ways that you think you are rich.
I love that.
But anyways, yeah, bouncing off of that. So ways that I definitely know I have anxiety is the biggest thing for me is my brain does not stop, like literally just keeps spinning. And something I really am trying to work on is I realize that my anxiety is bad. My attention span is not there. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, go, 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 go right away. I feel like I can't ever just sit down and sit still. I feel like I can't ever pay attention to what's in front of me because I'm always thinking about what's next. So I've really been trying to like pull back and just like relax and just my mom says to me like if you got one thing done on your to-do list for the day, like you are making a step forward. It doesn't matter how big or small it is, you are still progressing forward. So I think that's like the biggest thing for me is I realized my anxiety was bad when I would get up in the morning and as soon as I got up, I'd feel anxious. Like my brain would start spinning. I'd be like, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. So I've really just been trying to kind of like slow down. So especially today on my rest day, like I will just sit all day. I'll get my steps, I'll check off my boxes, but I will just allow my body. My biggest thing for me though is like I cannot watch TV. I cannot watch movies. Like, we'll sit and watch church on Sunday. You could ask me what the pastor said, and I couldn't tell you. So, I'm really trying to find ways to cope with it. I journal every single day. I've been really trying to tap into reading, and I do think social media has a big impact on that because it's really bad. And I know it sounds terrible to say, but I know a lot of people can relate. I feel like I have FOMO from like what other people are doing and like where other people are at and like the successes other people are having. So I've really been trying to not scroll like Alani said and just post my content, engage and be done instead of sitting there comparing and scrolling because it's like I'm wasting time away from my life sitting staring at a little phone screen. It's terrible for my anxiety and it's not doing me any good. So that's where I'm at. I have thought about like I'll be open and honest about it. I have thought about going on medication just because it has been so bad. It's not something I want. Like I do want to find that root cause before I do try. But I do think that, you know, everyone deals with things. Everyone deals with anxiety and everyone has hard times. And I want everyone to know that because as like an online fitness coach, and I know like Alani coaches girls and Kate coaches girls, a lot of clients think that we are like perfect and that we're like robots and don't have any struggles. But at the end of the day, we all struggle with the same things that all these girls that we coach struggle with.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes us better coaches at the end of the day too, is it's like, hey, we aren't perfect either. And have we maybe had a little bit more time to figure these things out and learn these strategies? Absolutely. I think that's one of the most like empowering parts of this is feeling a little bit more in control than maybe we did a year ago, than maybe we did 2 years ago. But we still struggle with those things. And it's something that I think all of us like want to make a point to show up more because I think we don't maybe talk about it as much as we could because social media is such a highlight reel. And I know it's something I need to work on. Like, I think in my YouTube, on my vlogs, and on my Instagram, it's always, you know, oh, so happy, so great. Like, you know, I talked about not placing well, but I didn't talk about like the deeper stuff, like how anxious I do get in prep. And I know that even now that I'm, you know, what is it, about to be a month post show, I still am dealing with that anxiety, those feelings like of go, go, go. And I know a lot of that is from being in, you know, a deficit for an extended period of time. And there's stress on your body, stress on your mentality. And it's so weird to like see how those things kind of come to the surface, even though it's like based off of what you're putting in your body. And it's based off of, you know, how hard I was pushing my body, how little I was eating, and how it like genuinely comes down to, okay, it happens every year for me. And it's something I don't think I've ever publicly put out there, but I'll probably have anxiety attacks, panic attacks, like 3 times a week pretty consistently, even like up until a month after my show. So it's getting better now, but it's something that I just like don't really talk about. And it's something that, if I'm being honest, I don't even really know how to navigate. It's not something I've like talked to somebody about before, but it's something that I'm working through. And I think exactly what you said, Caroline, where it's like, I try and just I'm focusing more on being still, taking things one at a time, because I'm the same way as both of you guys, where it's like, I feel like I'm always go, go, go. I wake up, I've noticed I wake up in fight or flight. I immediately pick up my phone and I'm planning
Me
out what I'm
too.
going to do for the day. And it's like, okay, now I'm behind. I'm behind. It's that constant feeling of feeling like I'm behind. I'm not doing enough. How am I planning out my day? Absolutely perfect. I find like I try and be the most efficient with everything, and I can't just sit still and take it one task at a time. So it's something that I'm working through. It's something that I don't really have the answers for yet, but I don't know, just something that I'm trying to like get better at. But I think big picture for all of us that we're wanting to say is just give yourself some grace and focus on what you can control, and leave everything else to not stress about. Just control the controllables and let everything else fall into place.
Yeah, so Kate, I know that you'll talk next, but I do just kind of want to give a backstory. So for any of you who don't know, like Alani and I are online fitness coaches. We do tend to work from home a lot, but Kate is, you know, a bodybuilder and she's also an ICU nurse. So the stuff that she sees and deals with is insane. And she pushes so hard in the gym. So I think any of you who are nurses and any of you who are nurses and wanting to get into the gym, I know Kate deals with a lot of stress and anxiety, but she does a great job of working through it. So, Kate, if you kind of want to talk about how you deal with that, what you see and like your experience to overcome all that, I think a lot of people would love to hear that.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of the anxiety and stress I deal with comes from work. I've noticed like if I have like a week or 2 weeks off here and there, I feel great, like barely any anxiety. But then once I have to go back to work, the anxiety just builds. I don't sleep before I go to a shift. And a lot of it is because of like the stuff I've seen. And I just don't know what you're going to walk into. Like you could walk into a crashed patient and there goes 12 hours. You're not going to sit down or drink water or have food for the whole 12 hours. Or it's like the stress of like leaving work and you're like, okay, did I chart that? Did I make sure I scanned that medicine? Did I give them the right medicine? Could I have done something different? Or in the ICU, we deal with critical patients and constant procedures. People are on breathing machines. They're getting serious medications through like big central lines in their veins. And like one little mess up could kill somebody. And if someone passes away, you're like, did I do something wrong? Was there something I could have prevented? And that, like, as a 23-year-old girl, I've been nursing in the ICU since I was 20. I think just these past 3 years is just eating my mind up. When I first started, I was okay. But then I switched to day shift and it's just like consumed my life. And even apart from the job itself, it's just the stress of like, okay, I have all these 5 meals I need to get in. Am I going to be able to get them in? I stress about leaving my poor puppy at home and making sure he's okay. I stress about getting my schoolwork done because I'm getting my bachelor's degree. And a big thing that has helped me is just making sure I'm constantly prepared, making sure I constantly have 4 out of 5 meals prepped in the fridge. I always make my 5th meal at home. So constantly making sure I have those meals prepped. I have extra ingredients prepped in case I get called in because we have to take call shifts. Making sure I plan out my week. So I work 3 to 4 weeks plus a call shift. So I look at my week and I'm like, okay, I can hit my leg day on this day. I can hit upper on this day. I'll have to train after work on this day. Maybe I need to train before work because something came up, which I try not to do. But mapping out your week and being like, okay, this is what I have going on and this is when I can do this. And is it perfect or ideal? Heck no. But there are ways you can get around it and make it work. And a lot of it just takes like taking a step back, taking a deep breath and planning out everything. And I wish you could say like, or wish I could say that if you were perfectly prepped and you had everything together and you knew exactly what you were going to do, you were going to be anxiety free. It just doesn't work like that. And my nurses know like cortisol spike for 12 hours is hard. And there's honestly, I wish I had a better way to like tell people how you can work through it. And I think a lot of it just takes being patient and having a good support system around you. Like Alani was talking about, like I have a great family, I have a great boyfriend, and I can't imagine just coming home and having anyone to talk to. It got so bad a couple months ago. I had to resort talking to a psychologist, and thank God for him because I was just going through it like 2, 3 a.m. wake ups, just like fight or flight constantly. But I think just having a good support system, not being scared to talk to people, and just realizing that every day is not going to be easy or perfect. I used to get so in my head if I missed like all of my meals because my 12-hour shift was insane. But just realizing that those days are going to happen, and all you can do is the next day is just get back on track and don't beat yourself up about it. So I wish I had better ways I work through it, but there's honestly just nothing's perfect. Life is never going to be perfect, and just do the best you can, and that's all you can do. And perfect days really honestly don't exist. No day is honestly perfect in my opinion. I feel like you can always be at least 1% better, but just stack good days on top of each other consistently, and that's how you're going to see progress in your fitness journey or whatever you're trying to achieve. But I don't know. I wish I had better ways I work through things.
No, I think that's so powerful to hear, honestly, Kate, because I feel like that's just so incredible to me. And I think that goes along with okay, why am I, again, the comparing thing, it's why am I anxious? Kate is freaking doing the stress that you have of literally people's lives in your hand is insane. And I'm here am I doing my online coaching, going to the gym, why am I anxious? Right. So I think that we can get into our heads about that as well. It's just taking it one thing at a time, not looking at what everything that we could be doing and just trying to be still. And I'm right there with you, Kate. It's I wish I had better advice for how to work through that. But I think, yeah, at the end of the day, we are all just working through it, trying to be our best and trying to just not put this pressure on ourselves to be perfect and just do what we can.
Honestly, something I was really struggling with too is I was comparing my life of working 12-hour shifts and trying to fit in training to school to someone that gets paid to sit at home and
edit content.
Yeah. And I was okay, well, where am I going wrong here? What's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Or why is my content not as good? Or maybe why do my check-in pictures not look good as them after I just got off a stretch of 3 12-hour shifts? And I think that the best advice I have for someone is if you work 12-hour shifts, if you work a 9 to 5, if you work from home, I think when you guys said earlier, just compare your life to your life, not someone else's, because our schedules are so different. Our stressors are so different. The way we look at things is so different. And you can't just be why am I so anxious about this when this person that works from home or doesn't have to work at all is fine, but I'm just a freaking mess inside.
You also have to think about though how valuable your work is to other people. Even being an online coach, Alani, and running your own business, that is so valuable to other people. Whereas some people get paid to sit at home and edit content, and that's awesome and all. Obviously, that's everyone's dream life. Who doesn't want to sit at home, edit content, and get paid? But at the end, I mean, we all do, right? But at the end of the day, you have to think about how valuable your work is to everyone, Kate, and the fact that you have a dog, you're in a relationship, you save people's lives, you get your meals, and you go to the gym. That's valuable and inspiring to me. And you're one of my best friends and you're 23 years old. So if anyone can do it, if Kate can do it, anyone can do it. You just have to find the time. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, and you just have to make your hard, not hard. So
I used to always be well, what if I didn't work at all, and what if I wasn't in school? What if I could just stay at home and go to the gym whenever I wanted to and not have to work at all? And I used to live in that what if mentality, and it really just brought me down. And I was constantly, what if?
Yeah, it's not fun. Because I want a job and I don't want to be going to the gym. I texted someone the other day and I was like, why am I at the gym at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday? Why am I not sitting at a desk working? I want a job so bad, Kate. So don't take it for granted.
It goes back to the thing of we're always comparing ourselves to something else, because Kate, if you had your same exact life and your content was in your head doing amazing, I know that's one thing you're stressing about, or Caroline, if you had your dream job, you would still be stressing about this next thing that you're trying to achieve. And, I need to do this next thing. And I need to do this next thing. And we never take a moment to just sit and be wow, look at how far I've come. Look at all these things I have achieved. And that's something I keep trying to come back to is no matter, even if everything went in our perfect idea of everything that we want to achieve, we would still be trying to chase that next thing. So I think it's just sitting and being present and enjoying what we have achieved, because we all have achieved so much. And I'm so proud of all of us, honestly.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're not anxious or stressed, then you probably aren't doing enough, and your life is probably pretty bored. And that's
Oh, Alani, what's that thing you say to your clients? I said it to my client the other day. It was like, if your life, it was like something about your life being perfect. Like if you live a boring life, what was it?
So I'll be doing weekly check-ins with some of my clients, and they're like, oh my gosh, like this week I had all these social outings, and I just want like a slow week. And they're stressing about, oh, I have this birthday party coming up, I have this travel coming up. And I'm like, look, your fitness journey is about finding a way to make this a part of your lifestyle. If you had no obstacles that got in your way, that would be a pretty freaking boring life, right? If you were just sitting at home, eating all of your meals, going to the gym, rinse and repeat, and you had nothing that was an obstacle, that would be a pretty boring life.
Right.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about work, but this really correlates directly with a fitness journey. Like you are on your own fitness journey. Stop comparing yourself to someone else's fitness journey, because you have no idea how long they've been doing this. You don't know like what their schedule is like, and you just can't compare yourself to other people, because it's only going to take a wasted time and energy that you could put into your workouts and cardio. And that's something I've been really hammering into my own brain, because I'm like, why am I not where this girl is? Or why don't I look as good as her?
Yeah.
And we're all young competitors. We've been in this like 2-3 years. We don't have that muscle density or maturity that these older girls have. And I'm comparing myself to like 35-year-old Sharon over here that's been in this for like and I'm like, why don't I look as good as her?
Yeah.
Honestly, like every second you take wasting that time, like, why don't I look as good as her? Why am I not where she is? That is time you could be like prepping a meal or doing better in your set or doing an extra minute of cardio, whatever you want to say. So I know a lot about work, but like it really correlates directly with your fitness journey, because I know a lot of people struggle with like body image, and all of us are now in growing seasons. And I think it's pretty bad in growing seasons, because you are looking at social media that's like right now, especially, is like just full of people, like going to nationals. And like I look at my picture and then I'll look at this girl like a week out from nationals, and I'm just like, shoot, I got a long way to go.
And it's like, why stress about the stuff we can't control? At the end of the day, just focus on what you can control and let everything else just fall into place. It's like, we can't control, this other person. We can't control all the external variables. It's just focus on like what you can control, how you can show up for yourself that day, and how you can better yourself.
Exactly. And as long as you're hitting your meals, you are getting your water in, you're recovering, you're training, why freaking stress? Because you're doing what you have to do. So
Checking
just
boxes.
out. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's all I really wanted to talk about. I know hard days suck and they're really tough mentally, physically, emotionally, but I think a lot of people just need to hear, like, learn to love the hard days and the tough days, because that's what builds resilience. And I remember my tough days and how I show up for myself, and it just makes me feel so strong and empowered. So if you guys are struggling with that, just know like you're not alone. All three of us struggle, but learn to love them. And like we said earlier, what a freaking privilege it is to have these hard days, and just do what you love, because hard days are going to happen. They're inevitable, but good days are coming.
Yep.
I love it. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think this was a really good episode. I hope that this resonated with some of you guys. And I don't know, let us know your thoughts. Let us know, what you want us to talk more about, because I feel like we just want to kind of fill that gap of what maybe isn't being said on social media.
Yes.
And it's just, it's such a highlight reel. So another great episode. We'll see you guys in the next week. Again, episodes are dropping every Monday at 5 a.m. on all the platforms. So we will see you in the next episode. Peace.
Bye.
Bye, guys.